Okay, please let me know when I can start.
We can start now.
All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Olivia Wami, and today we're going to be looking at project controls and how to use them to tame your chaotic projects. I'll be running so fast because of time, so please bear with me. An overview of what we're going to be talking about today is just how project controls can help you keep your project on track, how you can actually maintain control over your project structure and flow by making sure that everything is balanced and are also on track. So when something isn't quite right and a project starts to veer off course, we call in the big guns, which are project controls, so that you can actually get like an early warning sign that you need to make adjustments so that your project can come back on track as soon as possible. Project controls have the advantage of allowing us to predict and resolve a wide range of project issues. And please, let's all bear in mind that this is not only for project managers, but for each and every one of us working on one sort of project or the other. Some reasons why we need project controls are people's problem, quality problem, cost problem, time problem. For people's problem, we're looking at responsibility and ownership, availability, communication, conflicting values, or priorities. Now, for quality, things not working, items not completed, expectations are not met. So every single thing on the screen right now is supposed to actually give you like a notice of when you would actually need project controls. First, what are project controls? They are simply actions we take and the documentation we use to keep our projects on track. Basically, they are a set of tools that help us get to the deliverable successfully. Project controls are an important part of the monitoring and controlling phase of the project life cycle, which serves as a high-level framework for all our projects. Our project control in place is actually in place to assist predict difficulties and opportunity. In practice, project controls are concerned with tracking important project KPI like cost, schedule, which are linked to the scope and delivery. Now, what are the things that are under project control? Let's keep in mind that while a project may deal with a variety of parameters such as the quality, scope, and much more, project controls actually concentrate on the cost and scheduling schedule variables, constantly monitoring for any danger to them. So what project control simply means or simply does is to make sure that while you're actually on track, you should also not veer off track. Your scope, your quality is as good as it should be. Now, some of the things under project controls are align projects with the portfolio, organization goals and objectives, developing a work breakdown structure, collaborating on initial project schedules, developing a risk management plan, project budgeting, monitoring the project cost, feedback and reporting, and lastly, optimizing project strategies to enable better outcome in the future. Now, in case you're not really understanding what all of this is about, don't worry, as we're going on, we'll actually give you much more details on what I'm talking about really is. Now, looking at project controls and going deeply on how you can use them to tame your project. We're looking at one of the things we can use, or one of the control tools we can use is called a project planning document. This is simply a document that has everything concerning a project in it. So we have the project briefing, we have the timeline, the project plan, the schedule, and then the statement of work. So the project planning document is a record that shows that what you intended for the project, so you can see if it's tracking according to plan. The planning is one of the important steps in which controllers and project managers work together, whether it's creating the project plans, the schedules, the work breakdown structures, or cost estimates. Planning basically gives everyone a baseline to work with throughout the project. We are all familiar with what planning is. You know that if you don't plan, then there's a saying that says you have to plan to fail, or you're planning not to fail, something like that. So we know that yes, you have to plan in everything you do, and planning is like the first part in diving into a project. So a project brief, it covers the what, the why, when, how, and who, and other essentials of the project, so you can lay a strong basis for the rest. By the side of my screen, you can see a sample of what a project planning document should look like. You're seeing what the client, what's basically why the project, what's the project, the when, the how, and who, and anything else that needs to be on that project document plan. So your statement of work contains a lot of information to help you set up controls for the rest of your projects. Next thing we're going to look at is the Laci chart, which is an acronym for responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed chart. So this chart is actually used to assign the roles and responsibilities for every task or decision of the project. You need an Laci chart because a project with complicated decision-making or approval process may require one. This chart actually helps in particular if there may be a conflict around responsibilities, because most projects, you have a lot of people working on different things, not just one person working on one thing. You actually need something like this to make sure that you're assigning this to this person, this to that person, and so on. So by the side of my screen, you can see like a sample of what I'm trying to say, a sample of what an Laci matrix chart should look like, and how it actually, it's actually labeled out. You can see for the responsibility, there are some persons that are responsible for some sort of task, some other persons are accountable, the others are either informed or consulted for. So you use this chart, or how do you use it before a project starts? You outline a number of key tasks, list all the team members who will be responsible on this project, and in each column and row of your chart, you assigned the letter Laci or I to the person in charge of it. The next thing is the communication plan, which is a source or a document that lists all project stakeholders and defines communication channels by preference and priority level. You need this if you have a large number of people or groups who need to be kept informed in various ways during the project life cycle. You require a communication plan. So persons actually use something like Slack, some use WhatsApp, others use other forms of communication channel to actually keep their teams informed on the progress of the project they're actually handling. So how do you use this, or how do I use it? Note that the main goal of this is more like you want to notify all of your stakeholders. You need to keep in contact with your stakeholders, and you need to make sure that you are actually informed, or of the who, how, when, and why of each of this. Okay, so by the side of my screen, you can see a sample of a project communication plan of how it actually looks. So most project managers actually use this to send like a weekly report to their project stakeholders. This actually like lists all of the things that have been done over the week, what has been done daily, what has been done by maybe in hourly manner, and so on. So next, we look at the contact reports. A contact report is simply a set of documents that serves as a record of communication, such as the email, meetings, minutes, phone calls, and even in-person conversation. So when do you need contact reports? A contact report keeps track of information needed by the project team and the client's information that may be needed at any point during the project. This is why keeping a proof record is so important. This is so important for project managers, because you at some point in your career, you might actually work with persons who involve politics in what you do. So you need to actually keep like a record of everything you actually do with your stakeholders, maybe a representative of your client. If it's a phone call, you need to actually like put it down. This was what was communicated. Send an email under a trend that states what was discussed. It may be a timeline for a task on the project, and so on. Now, you also need to note who are a part of a meeting. If you call a meeting and you're putting down like a meeting minutes. You need to note the source of the meeting, in person, email, phone, text, app, and add the context or screenshots and takeaways. So it is not actually bad to like put a screenshot of what is called of your chats with a representative or a stakeholder. That is because of future reference. In case you need to reference back to what was being said and the person is saying, okay, I can't remember, I don't think I said this, there is like a proof or an evidence of sorts that actually states this was what was communicated, to also keep you as a project manager and the stakeholders informed. So the next thing is a status report or a cost report. Now, a status report summarizes all key projects, key metrics, and ensure that all stakeholders are aware of the project's current status. Now, you do this because let's say you're 3 weeks in a project, you send, these are the things you need to do. Maybe you look at your backlog, these are the things you've been able to achieve. After 3 weeks, you send a report. Okay, these are what we have been able to achieve. This is on track. This is pending. This is going to be looked at in the future. Maybe this is 90. If you're going to use like a project progress, like a percentage for the progress, you also put that down. So that is simply what a status report is. Why you need it is for transparency and efficient management. It is actually essential to be consistent with your status report. So if you start working on a status report, you need to continue. Now, for myself, what I do, I send like a weekly report at the end of each week, or at the beginning of a new week. You send a report to actually describe all that the team has been able to do in the previous week, so that you're keeping your clients informed. They know that you're working. They know that you are on track with the projects that you are actually doing for them. So a change request or a change management register, it describes and defines a change in scope that occurred during the project. So if there's any change of sorts or anything like that, you need to send like a change request. You need to send a register that is stating what has been changed, what was previously there, the reason of the change, the implication of the change. Is it going to affect the budget, the timeline? You need to put that down, and it needs to be signed officially to actually say that yes, both parties accepted or accept to the change in question. So why are project controls important? First of all, they reduce the project cost through our ability to make timely decisions, increase project predictability, increase visibility, ability to mitigate project scope, competitive advantage, increase job satisfaction for project team members, and improve reputation for properly managing and controlling projects. So you know that if you have transparency in every project, your stakeholders are going to, they are going to like ease up on you. I know that you're fully taking charge of the project. Now, the day-to-day process of project controlling is supposed to just keep your project on track. What do? You have like a daily routine as project managers. You need to understand the situation of what is happening. So if your project manager is calling you every day, we need to do a stop, I need to know what is happening, is because they also have something that they need to, some information that they need to take back to the stakeholders. So you need to stay on course as a project manager. We need to act like a radar, pinging to see what's coming up next. You need to cover all of the angles. Make sure that you're able to visualize the future. If this is what we have, what if it veers off track? What is the thing that I need to do to mitigate? All of those things are why we actually need things like that. So the phases of the project control process, we have the evaluate. You need to evaluate, plan, you need to react, connect, follow up with your team, follow up with your stakeholders, and so that is all. So let me just dive into why you need to evaluate. You need to keep an eye on your project strategy. That is just it. For the planning, you need to make sure that they are well planned. Try to foresee where things will go. Will the change have an impact on other workstations? Will you need to consult with the client? Is everybody on the team on board? You need to be able to react. Once you've devised a strategy, you need to put it into action. Do not wait. Do not doubt yourself. Just cover all the areas. Make sure you're in communication with your team. Make sure that you have everything, all the details you need to actually formulate a strategy, and make sure you're pushing that strategy forward. This includes informing the client of the changes and ensuring that the entire team is informed and on board. Now you need to connect. You're the glue that ties the team together as a project manager, because you're the middleman between the project team and the stakeholder. So make sure you share your expertise with the rest of the team so that everyone has a complete picture. If you have an idea of how the project is supposed to go, do not keep it to yourself and feel like your project team should actually know. Talk to them, inform them, like, just share ideas on all of that. So follow up with your team. We can't assume that our team will remember every request, because sometimes your team are also working on other projects. So yes. Okay, so I'm rounding up already. Then finally, following up, I'm rounding up. So please, this is just the last thing I need to say. Following up with your stakeholders, you need to make sure that your stakeholders are informed with everything that is going on in your project status, your updates, but also the follow-up is similar to how we do it with our team. It's those friendly reminders of the timeline. So thank you so much, everyone. I know I rushed a lot and I'm sorry. I think, okay, I'm on time. So if you have any questions, please, you need to send it to me on Slack so I can answer all of your questions. We don't have any time for me to ask my questions anymore, but I hope you enjoyed this section today. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Back to you, Benjamin.